when we came together and started talking about what are the things that we do to have success that's allowing us to have success, but still allowing us to have time with our family and be able to volunteer in our community and do the things that we love to do. And we realized that we were both really good at time blocking and mastering our calendar.
Hey mamas, welcome to the More Than a Mother podcast, where we believe you can pursue your dreams and be a great mother at the same time. I am your host, LaJuan Moses, and I am helping you find the freedom to live. Are you ready? Let's go. Hey friends, welcome back to the More Than a Mother podcast. This is your host, LaJuan Moses, and I am back with you again for another great episode. If this is your first time listening at More Than a Mother podcast, we are helping moms to create a life outside of motherhood without sacrificing their family time. We believe that moms can pursue their dreams and be great moms at the same time. This is a first for More Than a Mother. Today I'm sitting down with two special guests, Kellie Hoover and Blair Critch, who collectively run a private group called Blessed Momma Bosses. Through Blessed Momma Bosses, Kellie and Blair joined together to coach women and help them build online strategies to reach success without sacrificing their family time. I sat down with these ladies and they both shared their journeys on what it took for them to get to the point that they're at today, including Kellie's struggle with having a brain tumor and Blair's personal struggle with bankruptcy and fighting through her husband's addiction. Both of these ladies were so open and candidly shared their stories and just left a few empowering tips just for all of you. Let's take a listen to my interview with Blair and Kellie of Blessed Momma Bosses. Hey, Blair and Kellie, welcome to the More Than a Mother show.
Hi there, how are you?
I am well. How are you all?
Doing awesome.
That is just great. I am so happy to have you both here on the More Than a Mother show. And this is a first where I have two guests. There are three of us on here. We're all doing this together. So we'll see what happens.
It'll be fun.
Yes, it certainly will. I'm excited. So if you could both just please introduce yourself to the More Than a Mother audience before we get started.
Sure, absolutely. Well, my name is Blair Critch. I'm a mom of two teenage boys. I live in South Florida, and I used to be a kindergarten teacher. I'm actually a retired kindergarten teacher, and now do coaching for women and also have a network marketing business with over 20,000 promoters. So I get to do all my businesses online, which is fun.
That's awesome.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Kellie Hoover. I'm also a mom, but of two daughters, and live in the Carolinas. I am actually former pharmaceutical rep. I really have a passion for helping other people, and actually a brain tumor survivor as well, which sort of led me partly to the path now, also in health and wellness with Blair, and love helping women really find their passion through coaching inside our group.
That is wonderful. I am so glad to have you both here today and can't wait to get into all the good things you have to share with us. So at More Than a Mother podcast, we believe that you can pursue your dreams and be a great mom at the same time. However, none of us just start off being these empowered women that we are today, mothers that believe we can conquer the world. We all have a story, a path, a journey, some type of transformation that brought us to this point. So I'll start with you, Blair. If you could please share, what was that aha moment in your life to where you just realized that you wanted to be doing something different and just put you on the path that you're on today?
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a great question because I feel like there's multiple aha moments that kind of put me on this path. But truly, I believe it was God, right? He plucked me out of a few different situations in my life. One being my husband and I going through a major bankruptcy and losing our business as well as 10 houses that we were renting to people at the time. That little side business of renting out those houses was what allowed me to be home with my kids for 5 years and leave teaching. And during that time when we filed bankruptcy, we had to kind of figure out a way to rebuild. And that was where I first had the reality that I feel like I was made for more. I was made to really help other women and to do something maybe more than what I was being called to in the classroom. And then the second thing that happened was about a year after our bankruptcy, I found out that my husband was addicted to pain pills, to oxycodone. And so that addiction path and having to realize that I needed to find a way to financially take care of myself and my children in case he didn't get the help that he needed, which thank God we did. And he worked very hard, and I'm very thankful for that. But as you know, as a mom, I knew that that might not be the path. And so I had to figure out something really quick. And so I feel like in those moments was really where I found my true gifts and talents, and figured out a way that I could financially help my family in case there was ever that moment where I had to be alone with my two boys. So that kind of started me on the path. I think it's also probably what pushed me to want to help other women, because I truly believe in needing a life of choices, right? The life of true freedom, which is choices. To me, freedom is not about having a certain amount of money. It's about having choices, because you never know when you have to pivot or change something. You know, it might be a loss of a spouse. It might be that you don't have a spouse. It could be addiction or some kind of abuse, or just needing to get out of a bad situation. So that kind of was the beginning of my path.
That is so powerful. I mean, I know you can tell it with ease right now, but I'm sure as you're going through it, like you don't see that light at the end of the tunnel. So as you're going through this bankruptcy and then you're hit with the addiction, like how are you feeling at that time? Like what was going through your mind?
Honestly, okay, so this is very interesting. I think that we all deal with really hard things differently. Kellie and I are actually very similar in this. But when I'm in a really hard situation, I am like tunnel vision. It is all about what do I need to do to get to the other side. I think that I actually had more like PTSD 2 years after everything was done. So in the moment, I was very clear. I felt like I had a very clear vision from God about what I needed to do, how I needed to do it to survive, to get through it. But it was about 2 years after everything was done that I had some of those emotional breakthroughs of like, I can't believe I got through that. I don't know how I did that kind of moments. But it's interesting because when you're in those moments, you know that there wasn't really much choice. I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. And it was kind of like, and that was at the bankruptcy. And then the next stage was a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old with a husband who I wasn't sure was going to get through it. And it wasn't a 1-year thing. I mean, it was years of him working on his addiction. So I feel like in those moments, you just kind of have tunnel vision. And I was so focused on who I wanted to be, on who I wanted to show up for my children as, who I wanted other women in the community. And thank goodness, I was very honest and open through the whole thing. So I had a lot of people also pouring into me with their stories, the things they had gone through. And that helped me see that there was, light at the end of the tunnel.
That's good. And I think, like you said, staying focused on God and just knowing that you have this higher being that's working on your behalf. And then just knowing that power of motherhood, as I like to call it, to where we know we have to push through and we have to make it. So sometimes it doesn't come until years later when it's like, oh, how did I make it through this? I mean, sometimes it's a blur what we went through all that time and how we made it through, but we just know that we made it out to the other side.
So true.
Yes. And that is great. But before we get into too much further, Kellie, can you share with us what was your aha moment that put you on this path you're on today?
Yeah, it's so interesting that Blair said she was focused on who she wanted to be, because I have really 2 aha moments that stand out to me. And one was when my second child was just a few weeks old. I had a daughter who was getting ready to turn 2, and I was in terrible shape. I was so overweight. I was not confident. I had lost who I was, and I was a college athlete. Like, I had been an athlete. I had been an aerobics instructor, and I found myself now as a mom of 2 daughters, weeks old and almost 2, not really recognizing myself. And I will never forget the day I got the clearance, 6 weeks old, to be able to go exercise, that I signed up for a trainer and I committed to myself of who I wanted to be. And I wasn't going to be perfect, but I wanted to be better than I was in that moment. physically. I wanted to be a good role model, taking care of myself, just as far as like my health goes. And that was my first aha moment. And yeah, it was hard. I was so out of shape. I had to pay someone to teach me how to do things. But now looking back, my youngest is 9 and I have stayed dedicated to that commitment. And that was really the very first aha moment. And every time I think about not showing up, I think about that feeling of who I want to be for them. Right. My second aha moment was definitely going through my brain tumor. Really, truly being sick for a long time in the medical community, not knowing what was wrong with me, telling me, I was going through things that weren't the case, and finally getting to a point where I was collapsed and rushed to the hospital. And I overcame things. I had surgery. I was okay, but I was on the other side really reflecting where I was in life. And I was a great employee. I was working my tail off for other people, but I wasn't the best mom. And I'd always dreamed of being a mom, and I knew that there was something else out there. And so just listening to God, opening my heart up for other things that were in my path. And, I'm coming up on 5 years, actually, 5-year anniversary. So it's a pretty recent aha moment, from that.
And as you share, life is full of different aha moments. And just look at those two. Those are like very different extremes. Like one is I want to be healthy and live right and set an example. Then the other is just an illness that kind of knocks you down to where you have no choice but to kind of regroup and rebalance. I mean, as you're going through these different experiences, what are you learning or how are you feeling in this time?
Yeah, I think I really learned what I wanted to be, I guess, when someone looked at me from the outside, what they would know about me. They would know that I'm a good mom. They would know that I was passionate about the things that I was really plugged into. And I really am. And I feel like people that know me, can see those things. I also wanted just to be a really good role model. And I wanted to choose that your circumstances never define you. It doesn't matter that, I had certain things happen. It doesn't matter. Blair had certain things happen. We all have things, and they do not define us. I have never let being a brain tumor survivor, that's not what I want to be defined as. I want to be defined as how I handle it afterwards, how I show up after a tragedy or an incident or an aha moment or anything like that. And I think that is really what I learned. And we learn every day, right? We learn every day by showing up for ourselves first. So that's definitely what I have learned and continue to learn.
And it's daily, constant learning experience. And I like how you pointed out not being defined by that situation, because I think we all can so easily fall into that path of letting something define us because we're labeled with a brain tumor, because we have bankruptcy, because there's an addiction, because we're overweight and we're trying to do things. We so easily accept those labels. And it's once you accept certain labels, then you kind of start falling into that path. But what you're both demonstrating right now is that no matter what those labels were that came, you overcame those labels to step into the path that you're on today. So I think that is just really great how you both have just put that out there and been so transparent and open and in sharing that, because it's letting others know that just because these situations may happen to you, you don't have to fall into them, believe them, and just accept them. There are steps that you can take to overcome them. So I think that's great. So what would you say as you're on this path and these life experiences happen? Now I'll ask both of you, whichever one wants to answer first. What would you say were some of your biggest struggles?
I think for me, my biggest struggles were other people's opinions.
That's a good one.
It's so hard when you feel very clear what you're supposed to do or unclear, either way, and everyone's trying to tell you what they think you should do, right? And really, you're the only one between you and God who really know what you need to do. And then you're also the only, for those of you, most of the women that are going to be listening to this are mothers. You know your children, unlike anybody else, right? So I really feel like that for me was the hardest part. And even as I look at my business now and the success that I've had over the last few years of my business, it's been because I stopped listening to the opinions of others. I stopped allowing what other people thought I should or shouldn't do, or how I should talk, or how I should be, or who I should be helping get in my way. So I think for me, that was probably the biggest aha along that path of like, okay, enough is enough. Like I need to listen to myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely relate with other people's opinions. I think women, if we're all being honest with ourselves, we all struggle with that.
Yeah.
And it really, when you overcome it, it still creeps back into your life, right? Probably two other things for me specifically was the mom guilt, because I left that corporate America. I left that job that I had a tremendous amount of mom guilt because I did have someone else raising my children. I was not there except for a few hours at night. And so when I came home to be there, I had this tremendous amount of mom guilt that I needed to be it all and I needed to be great at it all. And it took me a long time. I can't say that I am perfect at it now, especially during the time we're going through now. Right. I mean, different things arise. The second thing, and I'm sure a lot of women listening will be able to identify with this, is the drive. My drive for success is very different than the people that I necessarily was hanging with. Some of my best, dearest friends, I love them, but our drive is different. What we want out of life is very different. And that can go back into other people's opinions, but it also can just be okay with being different and okay with wanting more and okay with not being satisfied with the greatness. We love greatness. We love that what we've worked hard for, but we're not there yet. And Blair and I both, I know all three of us can agree that we haven't arrived. Right. It is in our future. But that is different sometimes than other women you're around.
Yeah, that is so true. I hope you are enjoying this episode as much as I am. Before we dive back into this great episode, I just wanted to take a moment and answer one of the most frequent questions that I get asked all the time. People are constantly asking me, LaJuan, how do you do it all? You're working, running a business, raising a family, you have a podcast, a spouse, a life, and you are just doing all these things. Girl, I need to know, how are you doing it? Well, I'm excited to announce to you that I have put together a signature process for how I get it all done. My course, From Overwhelmed to Organized, Managing Family, Business, and All Things in Between, will finally answer the questions for you as to how I do it all. This course is designed to help you stop being busy, help you figure out work-life balance, how to set boundaries, and get your priorities in order. And we do all of this in this course and so much more. I mean, are you tired of feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and anxious? Are you ready to reduce that overwhelm and minimize the guilt in all areas of your life? And how about that work-life balance thing that is just always there? Are you ready to stop struggling to achieve it and instead find a way to create a plan to become more productive and less busy? Because time is of value and I don't want you wasting any more time spinning your wheels, I put together this course to help you dive through and answer all those questions and come up with your own process to get it all done. That's right. I do this every day. I do it all the time. I would not teach you anything that I have not actively done myself. So if you are ready to go from overwhelmed to organized and finally get things in your life in order and get your plate a little more balanced out so that you can reach that state of feeling balanced and not just constantly chase after work-life balance, I invite you to head over to my website or click the link in the show notes so that you can get enrolled in the course From Overwhelmed to Organized, Managing Family, Business, and All Things in Between. I can't wait to see you inside the course and take this journey with you. This course is truly life-changing. It is a process that you can use over and over again. And trust me, I wouldn't give you anything that I don't do myself. So believe me, I know it works because here I am on this podcast and doing all the things, and I still have my sanity. And best of all, I'm doing all of it without sacrificing my family time. So if that sounds like a plan to you, hit the link in the show notes or head over to my website and sign up now for my course From Overwhelmed to Organized. Now back to this great episode.
So tell me about how you connected with each other.
Yeah, I'll chat. So we connected through a health and wellness business that we were both in together. We both started on a path. We had our own personal experience, both had success within that. But what we realized is while we were going through and we were having success is we were doing training within our company, outside of our company. We realized that a lot of people out there were giving ideas and giving tips and business growth, but they had never actually seen the success themselves. And it almost to the point felt a little fraudulent. And we both had a passion, not only for, individual success people, but just saw something special about other women and wanted to be able to share all the tips, all the strategies that we personally have developed, the mistakes that we had made, and maybe help prevent some other women from making them. And so we came together with this idea of Blessed Momma Bosses really being able to help females develop tips and strategies to not only reach their success, but maintain success without having to sacrifice their family life being their children, their spouse, their, whoever is amongst that. They don't necessarily have to be mamas, but within that. So that's really how we came together.
And that's great. I mean, that's wonderful that you could look inside of what you had going on around you and pull out those pieces to see the piece that is missing. So even in your health and wellness business and company that you're working through, you're able to see that there is more to this. And so there's more that we can be doing to make an impact. And the fact that you two joined up to just come together and make this happen, I mean, kudos to you, because that's just amazing.
Aw, thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what would you say as you're being a working mom, or because I believe all moms are working moms, we just work in different capacities. So during this time that we're in right now, how would you say that you are managing it all? I hate using the word managing it all, but how are you just getting it together and keeping things moving?
Well, I think that was probably one of the biggest things that brought Kellie and I together as well, was learning how to master our calendar, right? So one of the things that we both truly believe is that your calendar is the game board for your life. So when you look at it, does it reflect the things that are most important to you? Right. And so it's something that we teach on a lot in our group, and we do a lot of coaching on for people, because that was something that Kellie and I both noticed when we came together and started talking about what are the things that we do to have success that's allowing us to have success, but still allowing us to have time with our family and be able to volunteer in our community and do the things that we love to do. And we realized that we were both really good at time blocking and mastering our calendar. So I think right now, during this different time and unique time where people are having extra stresses and extra things added to their life, even though we're at home, there's a lot of things that are being added to our plate. And I think it really does come down to learning how to master your calendar, because there is no such thing as doing everything perfectly, right? But there can be a time where you're supposed to get everything done. And that feels good because it does eliminate a lot of that mom guilt that Kellie talks about. Like, I hate that feeling. But if my kids know that between this time and this time is my time to help them with their work, between this time is our time to have sit down, no electronics, play with games, or go outside and play together time, then I don't feel bad that I'm in my office right now working for a 3-hour block or a 4-hour block, right? Because everybody knows that they're important to me and they have a time and a place. So I think that for us was one of the biggest things that bonded us together and that made us excited about helping more women, that I also think women need, especially right now.
Right. And mastering your calendar, that's so important. I mean, I really think because I'm a calendar person, a planner person, I have like a paper calendar, I have electronic calendars, I just have calendars everywhere. And I am that type of planner person, write everything down. I think we take it for granted how many women, how many mothers don't write stuff down and don't keep calendars. And I mean, when I would talk to people about productivity and things of that nature, I mean, I was finding that you really have to start that first step with some is, hey, you have to get a calendar. I mean, I take that for granted. And I just think how you said, mastering that calendar, doing that time blocking, that is so important because, as I like to call it, you achieve a life harmony by having those things written down and having the different designations so that everyone knows they're important in your life. And just because I'm going out here as a mom doing my business or whatever it is that I'm doing, it doesn't take away from what I'm doing in the home.
Yeah. And think about what a life skill it is right now while your children are at home more to teach them mastering their time and their calendar. I mean, it is a skill that we all have time to teach our children right now.
Yes. And I think, and that's one thing about this time that we're in, is that we're able to teach more life skills. And that's what I found, is that we were so in that hustle and bustle of everyday life, and it was just routine because everyone's moving so fast. But now it's giving back that family time to where those life skills that we perhaps were taught when we were younger, that we just kind of lose sight. Like my daughter picked up a vacuum the other day and she was scared to start the vacuum because she didn't like the sound of it. And I realized that's because we're so busy running and moving that mom's always doing the cleaning and the heavy stuff and all those type of things. And I was like, no, we have time. We're going to sit here. This is what you're going to do. So I think it's important, like you said, those life skills, it's a crazy time that we're in, but it's giving back some of those family values that we lost sight of.
So true. My boys are learning how to cook and clean.
Yeah, I need my son to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He is a junior in college. Well, he's going to be a junior in the fall. And he's like, I should really learn how to cook during this time. I was like, yes, that's good because you're going to be on your own eventually. I'm not going to be there to cook for you. And your little sister's cooking. So, yeah, that might be something you want to do. So that's so very important. Yes. So what would you all say has been the most rewarding part of your journey so far?
Okay, that's a great question. I would definitely say seeing other people overcome and grow and achieve. It is incredible when we are able to work with someone, even if it's something small as going live on social media, really overcoming the fear and really coaching them in how to do that, or with their calendar, getting the calendar and going from not ever opening it up, but actually planning out their week and goodness gracious, sticking to it. I mean, these are wins and it's really, really cool. And it fills our bucket a lot to be able to see other people achieve success, no matter where they're starting on the spectrum. What do you think, Blair?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's so fun to me to see when women all of a sudden get that confidence, right? It's like, yeah, I did master that. And yes, I am good at that. I think quite often, especially women, we have been labeled different things growing up and we believe everything that everybody's ever told us about ourselves. And the reality is you can be anything you want to be, right? And anybody can be anything they want to be, and you can change who you are. I think that was another lie that I remember hearing as a kid is like, well, that's just who you are, right? Well, that's a bunch of bogus because you can change yourself at any moment. You can be the person you want to be. And so it is really exciting when you see somebody who's like, you know what? I just learned that from you and I mastered it and I did it. And now you see that confidence ooze from them that they're able to change, that they're able to become who they truly want to be. So yeah, I totally agree.
And I agree. That's very exciting. And it's just something you just kind of feel that fulfillment because you can probably think about when you first encounter this person, remembering when you may have felt a similar way that they felt and how great of an achievement it was for you to kind of conquer something and build that confidence. And now you're able to go and do that for other people. So I just think that's wonderful. So do you want to share with us anything that the Blessed Momma Bosses are doing now or have going on that you would like our audience to know?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, first of all, if you guys would like to get our free resource about mastering your calendar, we'd love to offer you guys that. We'll put those links up, I think, right? And make sure you guys can get that. You know, that's something that is one of our free resources that we offer just to help anybody out. It's an easy worksheet that you can fill out and figure out how to time block and color code even in your calendar. And then we have our free group, Blessed Momma Bosses. That's a place where we come together as women and help each other with tips, ideas, and strategies. And then we also have a lot of other really cool resources. Kellie, I don't know, do you want to mention our Inner Circle, which is a great resource for women who are working?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that we've developed, and this really came out of a need from our Blessed Momma Bosses community members, is that they were spending a lot of time posting on social media, thinking of their content. What do I say? It's, a certain day. I don't know what to say. I don't have a graphic, this. And then they would just throw something up, or they wouldn't do anything at all because they were freezing. So we developed Blessed Momma Bosses Inner Circle, and it is an incredible group of people. And what we do inside there is we offer a lot, but probably the most favorite thing to our community members is the social media content. So every single month you get a full social media content calendar that has posts, it has professional graphics, it has engagement posts. You can pick and choose, you can alter and tweak. It is yours to have to utilize on your platforms. We also do Be Your Best training, which is specific mindset training, topics that we believe all women, especially women in business, we really truly need. We need to be at our top of our game and our mindset, and it's a work in progress all the time, right? And so we do that, and then we do also a few other things inside the group. One is a deep dive training where we really are teaching. We're really teaching of the things that we have learned. Specific, this specific month, it's all about how to have a CEO mindset. And that really is whether you have a side hustle, you have a full-time business, or you're working for someone else, but a CEO mindset is applicable to so much. And we also have this amazing vault. And we call it our vault because it is thousands of dollars worth of all of our content, our vision boards, our do, dream, and plan, so many different things that you have access to. And so we go in, we're in there on a regular basis, and we just love it. It's something that we are super excited about. It's called the Inner Circle.
That's awesome. Sounds like such great, wonderful resources. And I thank you for sharing all that. And I'll be sure to link to all of that in the show notes so that everyone has it. So before you leave us today, I like to leave on a positive tip. Or positive point. So if both of you could just share with us, what is one tip or tips that you could offer to a mom who may be struggling right now to find her way and just kind of manage things? What is the tip you could offer up?
So my tip would be, think about how you start your day. How you start your day in the morning. Maybe you ran away from a morning routine. Maybe you've never developed one. Maybe you have one and you just need to tighten it up. But just starting with one thing that you can be consistent with for 5 minutes every single morning during the week and on the weekend. Something that is filling your cup, your bucket before you go out and give it all away, right? To your business, to your kids, to your family. And then really developing the morning routine. And once you have what works for you, and what really can help you with your mind, your body, your spirit, your heart, all of those things, stick with it. Like, do not let anyone interrupt that space. That is the biggest tip. It doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom, a work-from-home mom, an essential worker. We all need that.
Yes, we do.
That was so good. I think, and the other thing is what you fill your mind with. So, that's a really quick and easy evaluation when you look around, right? I look back to who I was, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I'm such a stronger person. Yes, because of the situations I've been through, but more because of what I filled my head with. So instead of allowing myself to listen to just regular music when I get in the car, I'm listening to a podcast like this one, or I'm listening to, a book on tape through Audible or something like that. I just have learned that whatever you fill your mind with is what's going to end up pouring out. So whatever it is that you want to do right now, go get the books on that. And whatever it is you're struggling with right now, go find some books on that, or a podcast on that, or things that you can listen to about that and grow. Because the more that you can grow, the more that you will change, and you'll get closer and closer to that final point that you want to get to.
Awesome. Those are great tips to think about how you start your day and what you fill your mind with. Thank you both for sharing that. So I thank you, Blair and Kellie, for joining me today. If you could, one of you or both of you could just share with the audience where we could find you online.
Yes, you can find us online. We are both on Facebook. I'll give you my handles and then I'll let Blair share hers. I am Kellie, Kelie, Johns Hoover on Facebook, and on Instagram you can find me at Kellie Hoover.
Awesome. On Facebook, you can find me. I'm actually facebook.com/sparklyblair. So it's easy for you to find me that way. And on Instagram, it's at Blair Critch 2. there was somebody already had my name on Instagram. Hilarious. And you can also find us if you just put in Blessed Momma Bosses in Facebook. You can find us there as well. We would love to meet you on Instagram or Facebook. We'd love to find you or you find us and say hi to us. We would love to get to know you and invite you into that free group.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Blessed Momma Bosses, for joining me. This was great. Thank you. How are you feeling about the More Than a Mother podcast? If you are enjoying this podcast, if you are enjoying this episode, please take a moment and screenshot this episode and share it with your network. Like, subscribe, leave a review, and share. Share this greatness with all the moms, all the women that you know, so that they can get in on this great More Than a Mother experience. This is truly a movement, truly something that I do for all of you and not just myself, because I really want to see a nation of empowered mothers who are out here living their dreams, pursuing their goals, and doing all of this without sacrificing family time or feeling guilty. So don't keep the greatness to yourself. Share this with all of your friends. Invite them to listen to the More Than a Mother podcast. I'm so excited and happy to have you on this journey, and I cannot wait to see all of your friends here as well. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, head over to LawanMoses.com. I love for us to stay in touch. Make sure you leave your email address so I can send you inspiration, tips, and the latest updates. Or, if you prefer, text the word MORE, that's MORE, to 302-440-4632. We have some great things coming up, and I don't want you to miss a thing. Thanks again. Make sure you subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, keep pressing because victory is yours.